Hey guys, as promised, I'm going to continue telling my stories. Um, well, yeah, the last video that I did was on the first ex I was with the kids, and how that ended and how that happened. And you know, it's me and her and the kids that I raised with her. Again, I don't care what you heard. This was a real story, exactly how it is. Like I said, of course, with exes, they always go and they're going to tell another story. They're perfect. Nothing's ever wrong with their end of it. They never did anything wrong. It's just me, 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 me. That's how it happens. And then to go back with my family and gang up with my family about that, when I said I wasn't going back to her. Like I said, even got the kids involved. They're adults, of course. They're not children. And when I left, they were not children either. And they were able to contact me at any point. They still are, and were. Um, it's just it wasn't on their terms. It wasn't how they wanted it. So of course, everything went south. It's sad to watch everyone get used and manipulated to try to lure me back home, and that's the only way. It makes no sense that just because you're not there, you have no access to people who supposedly loved you. If they loved you, this wouldn't even be possible. Just walking away, leaving you, not contacting you, not finding a way to contact you, not finding out if you're all right, not checking up on you. Um, for a while there, no, I was not all right. When I first left, I wasn't all right. Um, Mentally, no. And emotionally, psychologically, no, I wasn't okay. Um, but I got better. Like I said, um, I did raise them into adulthood. And again, it was a bunch of mind games with everybody. This is what they're not speaking on. Everybody had their little secrets, and everybody was playing mind games also, because this is all the same thing. Everybody's doing the same thing to get me back home. It's no difference. It doesn't matter who it is, who I was in contact with, who I was close to. It's that. Like I said, she completely crashed out when I told her, after we got the house. And like a month later, I sat there and told her I didn't want to be with her anymore. I can't do this. This is not working. What's happening between you and I? And then I was left to raise the children on my own, until she got out of prison. And she gets out, and then again she comes out and just starts slandering and going crazy because she heard rumors when she was locked up in there, and people were writing her. Someone kept writing her mysteriously, in crayon and paper clippings. Article clippings and stuff like this. Using the letters from magazines and newspapers to send her messages about me. I'm dating someone else. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. Well, yes, I am, because she did tell me that she was seeing someone else. She said this before she got locked up, but it's not serious, which is always something. She's always with someone. She was always with someone. Again, I told her she'd have treated me right, I would have stayed there. It's totally not me. Yes, it was physical. That relationship was not well. It was our first relationship. We were very young, and no other relationship was our physical, um, in that manner. But we were together. Her attacking me, us going at it, me defending myself, um, me going at her, some of the really trifling, terrible things that would happen. So that's how it got like that. We're just going back and forth, the cheating, the drugs, this, that. Then it turns into, when she leaves, now all of a sudden she gave me an ultimatum to come back. And when I didn't come back, we just talked in February. Like I said, her whole thing was she didn't want to be alone, and she wanted to be back with me. And oh, well, if I don't get back with her, well, I'll never talk to the kids again. They don't want to talk to you. They're not going to want to talk to you. Um, you're not their father. You're not, just crazy. If people could hear the other end, which I have evidence and proof of all this stuff, I have my receipts, definitely. Um, that's just, it was nasty. I have witnesses who heard this whole conversation, who seen these conversations, who got to see these messages and things like that. And so I definitely can back it up for sure. You know, recordings, pictures, things like this, emails, messages. I kept up with my stuff, because letters, even in prison, I wrote her the entire time she was in prison, even though her own kids didn't want to write her, even though I told them to do so. Told them it's going to look bad. You have to write her because it's not going to look right. Again, I stepped away for mental health, and that's insane. Why would your family turn on you for stepping away for mental health? Again, the son we raised continuously kept talking to me even after the fact, up until about 2023, I think. He and I, he found out I had blocked his mother because I told him I did. She continuously kept talking to me and wanting to rekindle our relationship. Abused, she's not abused. None of this was going on. This was a together thing. It wasn't a by herself thing. Wasn't poor her, she's getting abused. That's not how that worked. Um, it was us together because, again, many times, like I said, pulling knives on me and putting it at my throat, poking my throat with it, um, trying to stop me from leaving. At the many times I tried to leave, this is what's not getting said. Them putting stuff in my food and drinks, and I went through all this stuff already. Like I said, witchcraft is crazy stuff they're doing, having weird stuff in bags under my pillows, and having me eat menstrual blood and not even knowing it because it was put in my food. Like I said, odd things like this going on. So there was that relationship. The next one, and anyways, back to that. I left. I had to leave all this. I couldn't be with her. We stayed together like, up until she told me she was with someone else. She had someone else. And then she tells me, like I said, I just got the message in February that she had lied about the whole thing. This whole thing was just a setup in a game because she didn't want me to leave. All this happened because she crashed out because I told her that I was leaving. In the very next weekend, you know, I'm not leaving, but I said we couldn't be together. We can stay together, but I don't want to be with you. Like, this is not working. This has been a nightmare. You have to admit that it is. I admit that it is. We have to acknowledge that. Now, we'd be here for the kids and stuff, but being together is not something I can do. I just can't do it anymore. Um, Felt it was hindering me. It was hindering us. It's not getting us anywhere. It isn't working. She just, because I didn't want to be with her physically. And so she went and crashed out and did all this stuff. That's how she ended up in prison. She crashed out. It was on purpose, as she told me this. It was on purpose. It's crazy. Like, people don't understand. You see the outside, you hear these rumors, but you weren't in there. You're not there. You don't see it. You don't know. This hearsay is a bunch of crap. Like, you don't know. You have no idea. The things that were said. Her driving, trying to drive us into oncoming traffic, and me having to get the wheel because she's threatening to crash out and just take us all out in the car. And I'm like, do you hear yourself? Like, literally. These are things I kept to myself. I never said anything. You want to, like I said, you want to tell stories, you got to tell them right. You have to tell the truth. There's many other things that were done and said, but I can't even mention it. So terrible, I couldn't say it. Things that she said and stuff between us. I don't let everything out like that. Unlike them, I don't go around slandering people like that. Um, so some things I do keep to myself. There's a lot of things between us that I can't say. It's a lot of things between us as a family that I can't say. Um, and that's just that. If this playing victim ain't it, because that's not how that went. All these things, they set a lot of weird stuff up. Everybody knew about it. Everybody knows everything. They all knew. So again, it will make you accessories to things. I mean, if you want to say that. So either you did or you didn't. It's one or the other. Make up your mind. Like I said, it's just to threaten me. So they're saying all these things, trying to put my personal business out to threaten me. But the thing is, they're keeping it amongst themselves and, you know, other people that they need to use. And this is what's happening to get to me. So anyways, with that, like I said, we kept up with each other for a while. She and I continued to talk. And the thing is, even the kids were trying to push me to get back with their mother. So it's so terrible. We just talked about this in February, getting back together. I told her I can't do that. All my exes keep coming back doing that. The ones that I've had these relationships with that are not that great. It's like my last ex, same thing. I can't do it. No, because you betrayed me. Like I said, there's very few exception of people that I would get back with, but These last two were definitely not it. These last three have not been it because it's been terrible. That's why I had to go. The last one I left, this last relationship I took off because I couldn't do it anymore. Um, Started noticing weird things, which again, I'm told you guys, I'm going to explain to you the weird things going on in these relationships, which are red flags, which showed me things were not right. Um, well, anyhow, like I said, uh, kept in touch with them. That was their choice. They're mad because I physically won't be there trying to get me back. My family's even helping them. They've linked up with my exes, all this stuff to slander, to cause drama. People who have no clue. These people don't know me. My family does not know me. I don't give my personal business to them. I've never been around them. You can't take one side of a story and live that out like that and use that because so much more comes with it. And I'm the other half of that. But I tell my side, it ain't gonna look so much like victimhood anymore. Because I'll tell the truth and it's messed up. The truth is actually pretty sad. Um, this is why they're sitting there quiet. There's nothing to say. What can you say? I'm telling the truth. Point is, so like I said, people can run and say what they want. Anyways, point is, I'm gonna get to the next story. Here we go. So, anyways, um, this next chick, like I said, my family would send people to me, um, and I mean, I noticed that friends were placed there. Again, I'm gonna explain this weird stuff that I ended up finding, noticing that I hadn't noticed at that moment. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'll explain this all to you, but like it was just crazy incidents. They were purposely getting done. And it was always, don't say nothing when it's happening. Don't say this. Don't, because they're protecting this stuff because they're doing it. Again, this ex before this, again, sent to me. It's always, they know my exes. They know the people that I'm with. No, you're meeting them because they tell me that they're getting met up with or they're getting sent from online. Just like my friends and stuff, people were placed there, or my family will place people with me. Hey, these are cool people. You should hang out with them. I want you to hang out with them. And this is how this happens. But I didn't realize it at the time. I was naive because I was young. Um, so this particular time, this ex was completely insane. Like I said, I don't even really consider it as an ex. It's so bizarre. It's like us meeting. She just mimicked everything I did to make it seem like everything was cool. And this is while my first ex, was in prison. After I told her, we're not going to be together, and she claimed she was with someone else, which she later redacted in February and told me it was all a trick, it was all a game from the beginning, all the way back to 2001. Since we met in Job Corps, everything's just been a game, and I know, which I told her I'm very aware that it is because she laughed and just wanted me back. That's all it was. That's what all the crashing out was for. So this ex here, when I'm speaking on, it was a disaster. This was by far one of, I'd say, the worst. It's like she came in to do a job. Literally is how it felt. Because right off the bat, it was just bad. And I told her, like, I'm just, I talked about, I was in a relationship, this is just really rocky and shaky what's going on right now because my ex is locked up, and I let her know all this stuff. People think you just do things and they don't know the inside. They don't know anything about anything. What you're thinking, your end of it, nothing. So I told this girl, it's not going to be serious or anything. We can live together. We can help each other out because she was also in a relationship and she was leaving this relationship, wanted to get out of it. And I remember so many red flags at the beginning. Um, Now, it's just so weird. This one is so strange. There was just too many red flags, and I just, as always trying to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. And so what I did was let this girl move in, which I should have never done. And in Texas, of course, there's laws here about people staying with you, and how long they stay with you will determine, how hard of a time you're going to have getting them out. Unfortunately, because you have to take them to court. And I wasn't going to go through all that, but I did not realize it was going to become the monster that it became. So she gets with me, and right off the bat, she's already, telling me things. Hey, it's going to seem weird, These red flags. I want you to listen to you guys listen to this so you can see what I'm talking about. Chick comes to you and just automatically just starts dumping on you, all this stuff. So it's always something odd. So she says, my ex, if I get a lot of phone calls, I know this is gonna seem weird. People calling me, my ex husband, he has a revenge porn page on me, and people keep, they keep calling me. He put my number there, and they keep calling me, and I'm just sitting here like, so if you see any why that's important, because what happens in this relationship is exactly connected to this. She was using that as a front, obviously, to cheat. So she, if people would call, and she kept linking up because she changed her number about 6 or 7 times when we were together, and these same people kept getting her number. These same people, come to find out, all these people she would sit and talk to me about and fantasize about are the same people calling her. And she's picking up more people. And every best friend I got during this relationship, she slept with all of my best friends, every freaking one of them. And her play brother, so they would turn on me. Like I said, it's easy to see how people do this to you. It's not me as a person, it's people playing games. I wasn't a bad person. I didn't do anything. I actually stuck up for my friends and did everything, then to find out all this stuff. Um, anyway, she comes and tells me this stuff about that. So when the phone calls would come in and people are calling her phone and she needed to speak, it was odd. I literally heard a conversation one day and told her about this conversation. It's so funny how they try to act so stupid and lost, like you don't know what's going on. So naive and oblivious to what's going on. Like I literally, she didn't turn. I said, next time that you get a phone call, turn your volume down and I won't hear what's being said. This person called her and said, is he there? And she says, like, she just gets a phone call out of nowhere. Is he there? She's like, yes, he is. You know, basically, she's like, yeah, basically saying that I was there. And she said, So this person's like, oh, all right, well, I guess I'll hit you up later. So I sit there and ask her, I said, what was that? Oh, wrong number. I literally heard the conversation, dude. Like, come on, get real. You know what I mean? Just crazy stuff. Also, another weird thing, when we got together, I'd say like 3 weeks in, this girl is sitting in the car. She starts shaking. I'm online talking to people because, I already know this is not, I told this girl it's not going to work. I would like for her to leave. But of course, that wasn't happening. So, unbeknownst to me, like I said, these Texas laws, I didn't pay attention to these laws about people moving in with you. So I got myself trapped and was sitting here trying to shake it and figure it out this whole time, this whole 3 years I was with this girl, coming on 3 years. Um, so I sat there and like I said, this relationship was a sham. It was never real in the first place. I even got a tattoo, and I'll explain, the tattoo, like why I got her name there. It was just to play everything off because I knew I had got myself in a situation, a fake engagement, everything. We planned this out with the engagement. She wanted to look like we were doing fine. So it's like we were doing bad and this whole time. And she wanted it to look like we were fine in front of her friends. It was always about image with her and how things looked. She went around flaunting it, doing weird stuff. And she tells me that I'm like a trophy to her. It's like she caught this, she said, I don't know, like the biggest buck you know, and I have you with me and I can parade you around and it makes me look fancy. It makes me look special. This is something she literally said to me, which I thought that was so weird. Then when we first met, also another thing she said was she was trying to get me on this particular street. All these people lived on this particular street, all these people she messed with. And she was riding in the car, she's driving and she's talking to me. And she's like, what'd be so cool? You're the only one that's not one of my babies that's not living on this street. Everybody else is on here so I can have easy access to everybody that I'm talking to. And I'm sitting here like, it's like I'm like, did she really say this? Is this a joke? Is this real? Kind of let it go past me, Her ex, same thing, getting out of there. She just tells me this terrible story about this person. We go there and this person at the time. So you have to be careful of things like that because you get with people and you actually don't know the situation. You just know what they tell you. You don't know what it really is. So you're kind of naive, They did this, her cousin was dating this guy that came from New York and they did him so dirty. It was crazy. This cousin of hers goes and starts dating the neighbor. Was sleeping with the neighbor. She starts talking about how fine the neighbor is, but she just got with this other guy. This guy was on parole, and he ended up down here in Texas, which he, wasn't supposed to, because he didn't let his PO know this in New York. So of course, in the end, like, this guy was like, "You need to pay attention. This chick that you're talking to is crazy. Her cousin's insane." Because we saw a calendar. He ended up finding a calendar, and on there was xed out all these days, but it was days that her and her partner, her partner that she was leaving, because I had to help her move out, um, was where they weren't having sex. He's like, "This chick is a lunatic. You need to be careful, dude. I'm telling you to watch out. This chick's loony. I know. I can tell. This is who marks out dates like this. Who does this?" Well, and I'm just looking. He said, "You better be careful." He tells me this. He doesn't know them very well. I don't know them very well. And this person that she was with kept coming back, cutting stuff up and lighting stuff on fire on the table, and put their ring in there and put some letter about promising to be together, and she lied and all this stuff. And it's insane. um that person moved on. Now they completely cut her off, and same thing, I moved on. It's insane. She had a play brother also. This chick I was with had a play brother, and this play brother turned sexual. I it just completely changed. And he's like, "I'm sorry, bro, that I'm," one day I seen him looking at her when we went out to eat together. He's like, "I'm sorry, bro, she just showing her body, so I'm looking." I'm thinking, your play brother is looking. Yeah, okay, I already knew where this was going. I knew it. And sure enough, like I said, after it was all said and done, they ended up getting married, having kids together when this whole relationship was over. um and oh, everybody already knew this. Da, 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 she gave this announcement. Everyone knew that they would be together. Meanwhile, this chick is still hitting me up, reaching out to me, and I ended up shutting her down, letting her know I was going to report her to Instagram, but she continued to contact me. If she ever contacted me again, I was going to and take my pictures down off your page. We're not together. You're a freak. You're weird, and you take this shit down. Take it down. I'm going to report you. Um, so she went on. She tried to tell me happy birthday. Don't tell me happy birthday. Are you okay? You just ruined my life, dude. You need to go. So she sits there and she's like, during this relationship, like I said, she showed me at the beginning. First of all, she was a teacher at first at this Christian school with these high end people, with celebrities and attorneys. And like I said, so this chick was, how weird she was. Like, I'll put it like this: she worked at this place, and again, eventually she ended up having to leave the job because she started, they started an investigation on her while she was there. She is a very wicked person. Like I said, people play things off. They put themselves in places to make things appear like they're regular people. We have like literal demons walking amongst us in human skin. I swear. Some of the most vile stuff I've ever heard. So this chick's working there this day because she can't stand this little girl, and she calls her Noodle Legs. Is her nickname, because she wouldn't stand up. She'd pick her up by one arm, and this girl wouldn't stand up. And these kids are like up to like 5 years old maybe, and the smallest are newborn babies. So what she told me, she liked working in there. This chick straight up told me she likes working inside of there with those kids because the babies. So that's my favorite place to be. And I'm like, why? She's like, because. And these were like, colored children. So colored children's, are, they're at the school. And this chick is Caucasian, by the way. I mean, I'm mixed, so it's not a big deal. But the whole thing was, she was using herself to do things that were wicked. So she goes, so this is what the school was doing, because she ended up in this confrontation with this lady from Jamaica who swore she was racist because she kept doing, she caught her doing things. She told her this chick is abusing the kids. So this investigation started. She was stealing. She was doing all this stuff. And in the end, she tries to blame me for it. How? I have nothing to do with this. Her coworkers actually contacted me on, Twitter, X, back then, to tell me that, they were threatening to attack her. And I'm like, what have you done? The day she quit her job, I'm like, what have you done? What did you do up there? She stole from her coworker, and then she ended up stealing the tuition, which was expensive, stealing tuition from one of the students. She like took the backpack and walked up on the side and ended up, on the camera and taking the money and pocketing it and putting the bag back. It's like they couldn't pinpoint it on her for sure, but they were trying to. So she quickly just quit that job. Um, but she was stealing from them, and then she told me she liked working with the small children, like I said, because she said I can, especially little chocolate ones are her favorite. She told me, she said, you know why? And I said, why? I just looked at her like, she said, because I can pinch them and hurt them and no one would ever know. And they just scream and cry, and then I make it look like, you know, I can't figure out what's wrong. Poor baby, what is it? She just laughs. I mean, dude, I cannot make this stuff up. It was so weird. One day she comes in and she's crying on the bed, and I walk into the room and I'm like, what's wrong? Like, what happened? She just keeps crying, and then she looks up at me and starts laughing and wipes her tears off. And she's like, do you see how easy that is for me? This was when I asked her to leave because I didn't want her to be with me. I didn't think we were compatible and we could be together. So after I said it, she starts doing this weird stuff, over the next few days. She looks at me and she's like, that I can use my status to get you put away, to harm you. She's like, to set you up. So you need to keep that in mind. And I'm sitting here like, so you weren't crying the whole time? I was like, this is fake. So that is weird. What you did is, I was like, that's really weird. And she's like, yeah, would you just make sure you keep that in the back of your head at who's in control here? One day we were arguing, because we had showered together, but we started arguing because I got out and I said, I can't do this with you. I just can't. Because she sat here bragging and bragging and bragging about sleeping with this 16-year-old that she was so caught up on. I'm like, well, if that's where you want to be, you need to be there, not with me. That's what's so crazy. I don't want to shower with you and you're talking about this. It's weird. I just don't want to talk about it. So I get out of the shower. When I get out, we're naked. She gets out of the shower right behind me and she's like, where are you going? I'm getting out. She's like, where the fuck are you going? Where are you going? So I get out of the shower and this chick comes after me. I told her, I don't want to be with you. I just can't. I don't want to do this. So she sits here, and again, these innocent girls, as always, poor innocent women. She goes and she pushes me. It's like we're fighting. We're sitting here fighting. She put her hands on me. She slaps me first. And then, I had like this, this old school metal ships, that go on the wall, whatever for decoration, decor, and my thumb got caught in it. We're sitting here swinging and fighting each other. And she kept doing this all the time. It was weird. I noticed she would try to get physical. So the chick was a little bigger than me. So she would try to get physical. I ended up breaking my thumb in there and having to heal it. So my thumb is, I harmed my thumb, but I had to figure it out on my own. I took care of it on my own, didn't go to the hospital, but I did break it. And well, I got by the door, and when I got by the door, again, we're naked doing all this stuff, soaking wet from the shower. This girl goes and pushes me in my midsection, caught me off guard, kicks me straight, like she just went and got me right in my stomach, my midsection. I just completely go back straight through the door. The door comes off, the entire hinges, falls in the hallway naked, and all the kids come out and we're naked. And they're just like, my, daughter is raised. She comes out and she's like, what the F is going on here? Like, what are y'all doing? And she's like, Poppy, what's going on? I'm sitting here and I'm like, it's this chick. Like, it's weird. She just like literally caught me off guard, dude, like straight up. Wasn't expecting that, And so yeah, that's what what happened. So her and the two of them get into it, and this girl's like, chick's like, you need to mind your effing business, little girl, and stay out of my. But she's like, well, it's my Poppy. That is my business, though. It is my business. Another time, my daughter comes in and this chick's on the bed in the corner screaming. We get into it. I don't even touch her. I'm not even touching this girl. Sits on the bed in the corner. I'm across the room in the bathroom, standing talking from the bathroom door. And we're literally like 15 feet away from each other. And this chick's sitting here screaming, stop. TK, just stop. TK, I don't know why you're putting your hands on me. Why are you beating me? Why are you hurting me? Stop, stop. She's screaming bloody murder and nothing is happening. So the daughter I was raising, she walks in and she looks and she's like, what are you freaking doing, chick? Like, you're weird. He's not even touching you. You're just screaming like a weird victim. You're weird. And she's like, you need to watch her because she's going to set you up. She's going to set you up. So I'm sitting here. I'm like, I know. I'm trying to figure this stuff out. I'm trying to figure it out. How to get rid of this chick. And by the way, 3 weeks into us dating, no, it's 2 weeks into us dating, I was still talking to people online because, I was like, this ain't working, because we go on these dates to try to get to know each other. Yeah, and always talking about somebody else. Always, always, always. This chick was always talking about somebody else. She wanted money to get somebody else's sweater. Hey, this person that likes me wanted a sweater. And isn't that crazy? So we go to the mall. These are our dates. Always fixated on someone else and what they're doing. Um, so we're in the car riding and she's sitting there and I'm talking to other people, so which is my business because, I don't know about this whole situation. So we're on, I'm on the phone and she just pulls over in a parking lot and she's like, Tegan, can I ask you something? She's just shaking and I'm like, yeah, what's up? Do you love me? Mind you, like I said, 2 weeks in. Uh, do I love you? Well, I'm just like, well, I care about you. Yes, I care about you. She's like, well, if you are, then who the F are you talking to? And I'm sitting here like, what are you talking about? Who are you talking? Who am I talking to? She's like, who are you talking to? You have to be talking to somebody because I see it. I'm like, what do you mean, dude? What are you talking about? She's sitting on the phone and I'm like, yeah, like I said, I care about you. You're like, yeah, sure. Like, it's like, well, you are, well, then you wouldn't be talking to anybody else. I'm sitting here like, what the fuck is she talking about? I'm like, dude, this is weird. So it's these instances kept coming up where I'm on the phone, I'm talking to somebody, or I'm online. She always knew that I was messaging. She somehow got my information from my phone, which wasn't even linked to hers, and kept getting info on she kept getting access to my personal stuff. Mind you, what's important about this situation is that her ex, was trying to be a cop and he couldn't pass to do that. So he ended up becoming some top security guard. So he was able to rub shoulders with these ops. So they're able to, what I started linking together, it has to be stuff like that. While we're together, there was Inspector Gadgets who showed up at my house. I had them come undercover to speak to me. I stepped out one day because she's like, somebody's at the door. I step out and there is this Inspector Gadget. Hey, how are you, Tegan? And I'm sitting here. He's like, how you doing today? I'm like, I'm fine. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, what is this? He's sitting here, talking to me. And he's like, is this strange? He said, you look different. It's like, we have all these pictures. We've been watching you for a long time. We've been following you since you were young. What? He's literally sitting here like, all your pictures, like, dude, they change every time. And he's like, and every time we think, we can come speak to you, you're gone. You've left. You've only been there a few months and you leave. Like, this was low key, just straight up weird. It was strange to be told something like that. Sitting here like, what, like, in my mind, I'm just like, what is he here for? What do you got to say? What is this about? Never had a reason to be there. He's just letting me know, hey, we see you. We've been watching you. We're here. That's it. Shortly after, I started getting phone calls from an Inspector Gadget threatening me. Hey, yeah, I'm about to F your life up. We're going to F your life up. We're going to do the best we can. He's like, what we're going to do? He's what I'm capable of and what we can do. They started accusing me of offing somebody. What? What are you talking about? I said, that never happened. I don't know who this is, but this never happened. Oh, but we can make it happen. We can make it look like it happened. And we can make sure that we can put you away for the rest of your life. That's what we're capable of. What? I mean, people don't realize it. So like I said, I have this house. I moved this girl into my house. I was about to own this house and all these weird things with this girl. They're calling. I have mysterious people calling me. Everybody knows what I'm doing. This chick knows who I'm talking to, when I'm talking, who's, messages and, so it was bizarre. Kept getting these phone calls and they're threatening, yeah, I'm going to F your life up. We're going to pin this homicide on you, and that's gonna be that. You won't be able to do shit. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing this to me for, dude? What is this about? We can F you up, we can do this. I'm getting these weird phone calls. At the time while I'm going through all this stuff, so the kid's mom's locked up, I'm with this chick. It's so much weird shit going on. This foster lady that adopted me, she had contacted me. We got in touch and it was going to hell. Like everything was just bad. She starts trying to cause ruckus. It was peaceful. And then it starts getting crazy because I let this lady back in my life, like I said. And she saw I was doing well. I was running a business. I was working, about to get put on to this company. And it got really good, with the people in the company. So I had all these people on my side. Instead, I get locked up and end up with a record. So because it was a felony, a violent felony, I was not able to, get on. It just messed up everything. This house I walked away from. I got up and walked away myself. This chick had people breaking into my truck. I had a dually truck, a Ford dually, Ford 350, and yeah, I walked away. I gave the truck up. I walked away from all this stuff. People don't realize what happened. I did that myself because I had people coming by in unmarked cars. People were giving me death threats. I'm just like, you know what? It's not safe. I got the kids here. You had people calling me from the stuff that the kids' mom and I had done in the past, running stuff, that, like I said, I stepped away from and got out of that. That's what she ultimately went to prison for. Um, running drugs, whatever. Which I got out of because I said that wasn't, it's not a good idea because we're, both of us cannot do this. There's nobody to be there for the kids. So went through all this stuff. And so, I had that happen. It was just so much going on. The neighbors started hating the kids and hating this chick I was with. So I'm like, you know what? This is so bad. Like this chick I was with and the neighbors, baby mama almost got into a fist fight. And she's telling me, you better tell your girl to effing watch it because, I'm going to rock her shit. I'm not playing. I'm just like, what did you do? What are you doing to cause these neighbors? So we get out and the neighbors are standing out there frowning, not at me. And they would tell me it's not about you. It's about them. The kids had done some crazy stuff. A lot of things were going on, man. And I had to fix, as always, run, fix, correct all of this stuff, plug in holes, watch everybody's back, keep up with everything so nothing caught up with anybody, as always, which I always did, every relationship. Again, I kept my mouth shut and kept on covering for these people like I always do. And staying silent is what screwed me up because then they got to turn on me and play innocent. That makes no sense, dude. Let's get real. Ain't nobody innocent. That's not how that works. Like, they're far from it. All kinds of strange things going on, like I said, in this relationship. So anyhow, like I said, in the end, this chick was able to set me up 3 years later. When I told her that I was leaving and I was in love with someone else, she was able to get me arrested at the club. She had me go out and was like, yeah, you should go out and have a couple of drinks and just relax. I was packing that week to leave. So how odd is that? And by the weekend, I'm locked up and end up with a violent felony for so-called stabbing her, and I never stabbed her, which I said they later proved, and they ended up expunging my record because it never happened. I had a PO step in, and they were looking at my stuff. I had a couple of detectives look at my things, and I was able to explain because they wanted to hear it and see what happened. How did all this happen? They wanted me to explain it because I told them I am innocent. She gave 3 different statements and they were able to find this out. This girl did a phone call, a statement over the phone, and 2 written statements, and none of them matched. None of them. She continuously taunted me while I was locked up about how I can't prove anything. I can't connect anything to her. How can I prove it? I want to see you prove it. Come on, I dare you to prove it. I dare you to get somebody to notice. They won't figure it out. And I let her know, hey, the phone calls are recorded, right? So if I were you, I would stop. So yeah, there's that. I'm going to cut this video short so that I can do part 2 of this video. But yeah.